speaking of like storylines stretched out, continued, and things like that, let's take it all the way back to when it all began in the Pet Cemetery Bloodlines that was on Paramount Plus. I checked that one out. I guess it was Friday night. Friday night, I checked that out. Troy, I mean, I hear you were a fan of this
Oh
one.
yeah, I was absolutely a fan of that. Now again, it was not just like top tier production, but I liked it very much, especially given that reading the book, that the story that they made this out of was a piece of the book that I really enjoyed. So I really like seeing those aspects brought to film. And I mean, I think they did a great job on that one. I mean, of course, for what it was Paramount Plus
Yeah.
streaming movie, but that is something I'll probably watch again this week. I found it pretty entertaining.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Bree,
I did
are you
not
feeling
like
the same
it.
way?
I'm
Oh!
sorry. I'm sorry. I get what you're saying. I like the history behind it. You know, it was cool
Yeah,
how they explained it. I'm like, okay, this is giving me a better idea of where this pet cemetery came from. Cause I've seen all of them. But to me, it was so slow. And then and I think the biggest problem I had was it was a Paramount movie. So like whenever someone was stabbed, you wouldn't see it. Like that dad was like stabbed with a shotgun, but they didn't show how he was stabbed.
right.
Blood
Yeah,
just flies. And I'm going, all right, like at least you could, even when the girl was like gonna
Yeah,
kill
every
that girl with that
slash
knife,
was
she was like scraping it. It didn't even match up to what she was doing. I'm going, come on, like,
Aim was off. She's a
yeah.
zombie thing.
Hey, just real quick, did Paramount make that Hellraiser
No,
No,
movie
that was
that
that we
was
Hulu.
talked
Hulu.
about?
It was
Hulu.
Oh,
Hulu,
okay,
but it was kind of the same
okay.
thing. But that one kind of kept me going. This one, I don't know, like it just I couldn't. I had to pause it a couple times, go do stuff
You
around the
had to
house.
pause it.
I'm just
Yeah,
Bree,
not
that
into
movie was
it.
76 minutes. Like,
yeah,
it
right.
was really, really, really short. If you paused it,
It was just slow to me. I couldn't do
it
it.
was like, dang. Wow. Well, Blake, are you on this? Are you on which bandwagon are you on? We're kind of split on this one, isn't it?
We won't be.
What's
I absolutely hated this movie. I first movie of the year that I was sitting down and I just went, okay, seriously, what's
Whoa.
happening here? Literally did that in the movie. There is not one thing that I liked about this movie outside of the acting of the bad guy, Millie.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
That was
Timmy.
it.
Timmy, sorry, don't care. His weird acting was okay.
Yeah,
Whoever the main character was, that guy, hate his face. Hated as
You
soon as he
know what?
walked
I don't
on.
like
right,
his
right.
face either. Did you know that that's Katie Seagal's son?
Yes, I
It
Oh,
found
I
is?
that
didn't know
out
that.
later.
No
Yeah. Look
way.
at him now,
I
and it
didn't
looks
know
just
that.
like
No way.
yeah, it looks just like it.
Hate
It
his
looks like her.
face. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense that he's a Seagal. He was just bad. No emotion anywhere in the face at any point in time, and
You're
just that
right.
Yeah,
stupid look.
yeah.
Why was he always so sweaty all the time?
I don't
Did you notice
know.
that?
I don't know. You could see the budget that they had just
Yeah.
right there in front of you.
Right.
AC was not on the budget. That's why they were all
No,
like he was
they
always sweating so much.
they had no idea, so they just had to keep looping stuff. How many times did she run around that hospital with this girl just randomly walking, trying to get? When did the things that came up from the pet cemetery become freaking monsters that can teleport?
Yeah.
That's not what they were. When was it a thing where they had to survive by just eating the insides of everything? And it's just
Oh, yeah.
and it's just
It was
when
weird.
they got to a point where, like, think about it. If this is all they are, it's just murders this. The poor little girl that was in the hospital with one person working there. Eventually, when she gets out, somehow she gets put in a coffin filled up with water. So now
Yeah.
he tortures this monster became way above and beyond what it became or what it originated from. It was terrible. I hated it. I
And see
hated every
now,
little bit of it.
hearing everybody talk, like I think those were the only elements that I did like of the movie was the possessed son and the possessed dog. Like, you know, like did he bite Foxy Brown? Didn't the dog bite
Pam
her?
Grier was great.
On the face.
Yeah.
And that was
I
like
thought she
shocking
was
off.
gone early.
I thought she was gone early too. No. And just like think about how they had to pad the runtime. One of those guys gets killed by looking underneath something and gets pulled in, right?
That scared me. Did y'all jump when that happened? I did.
Well, yeah, I jumped because the thing doesn't. I jumped because the thing doesn't have giant, massive claws with ridiculous strength they can do so until now. So we just saw this new Wendigo thing come out here and start killing people. Then, not to mention how long he took from just squatting down, looking under, getting back up, walking to the next one. It was almost like 5 minutes of just that, just to have him be pulled underneath, not everything off screen.
Blake, it was called Bloodlines. It's the beginning. Like this is the beginning. So everything that you're looking for.
I get it. Why did the monster get worse? Then why did the monsters get worse? It took away.
He got older.
No,
he got older by the 90s.
It's stupid. This is like what Hell's Butthole or whatever. Is that what they said it was?
I must have went to the restroom on that part.
Yeah, that's what they said it was, like Hell's Butthole, Hell's Mouth, or something like that. Whatever. Wow. That's what they said it was. And it just messes with your head when you're all of a sudden you're in there, takes away everything that was going on beforehand.
See, you always be over analyzing. You analyze too hard in some.
I know. I'm sitting here like, damn, I don't even remember that.
He's like,
it started off bad when Seagal's face showed up. And I had to look at it. And then when I had to look, and not to mention, I appreciate you trying to bring in actual Native Americans to play their roles, but you could have found a better guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy was pretty bad.
He was awful.
Yeah.
Manny, what's going on? Why are you upset? I'm mad too.
No, don't shoot her. Don't shoot her.
Don't shoot her. Don't shoot her. Yeah. Oh, don't shoot her. Don't you shoot her. Yeah. Oh, man. Don't you shoot her. That's all.
Yeah. Fucking dad came in there and had a blaster, dude.
I know.
Dad had to come in there and shoot her. Then he gets murked.
Like, yeah, none of it made any sense. Yeah. None of it. Remember the jump scare? Does anybody remember the jump
I will say this about those jump scares because I was going to mention this. I felt like, because I, first of all, am not near on Team Bree and Team Blake today on this one. However, I will say, shut up, Blake. I'll say that the jump scares were oddly timed to where I felt like they were always like either too late or too early. It would be like,
that's why I didn't like it. Yeah, something was off about the whole movie.
Every time it would jump out, I'd be like, oh, not yet. You should have waited 2 more steps. And then you come out, and then that would have actually scared me. But that one, and then it would jump to something real quick because I was actually going to say that it was fast paced too much to me. Like I felt like it was like, I mean, the movie was super duper short and it was just no build up to anything. It was like, boom, I'm gonna bury him. Boom, it's alive. Ooh, it killed somebody. Boom, is it. Like, I mean, it was very like, I felt like I was watching like an episode of like a mini series or whatever, because I was like, this is just the first episode because this is so quick.
I thought it was gonna be a mini series at first.
Well, so did I. Yeah. And maybe you might have appreciated it more if it was, so that they were. I think I might be who would have, because they would have been able to kind of stretch the story out, because it was. I like what they, again, I like the attempt. I like what they were trying to do to kind of tell the story. I did think that I could have used a little bit more like animals, like
dogs.
Yeah,
that's what was missing.
The pet was missing in Pet Sematary. You know what I'm saying? But again, if y'all recall my opinion on the remake of Pet Sematary and how the concept, the idea, the message behind Pet Sematary is what resonates with me and scares me the most about that movie, and just kind of, and I felt like this one stayed along the lines of that message with the dad, David Duchovny, who always has a face like this. He was like, oh, like the whole time he had the same face.
He sure went from real hard trying to keep his son to not giving a damn.
He changed his mind real quick. That's what I'm saying. It went
Where's the dog? Kill him.
Yeah, it's time for him to go. I guess
time for him to go.
He went from like, my son just needs some time to heal. He'll be all
Right.
right. And he was just like, you know what? He got to go. Let's go. This house down. I'm like, dang, Daddy, like, you didn't even give me a minute. So yeah, I felt like it was just really fast, but still not a complete disaster, as Blake, you say.
Yeah.
But my thing is, where do y'all rate the original Pet Sematary? You know, because I feel like these days we're so critical of movies when the original was trash. You know what I mean? Like, we look at, oh, you know, that Friday the 13th remake wasn't really good. But the originals are trash. You know what I mean? Like, we love them because they're garbage. But now, I guess now I understand.
So then why we judge them when they're garbage now?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm at.
I think it was a different time too. It was like a different concept, but we knew what we were expecting when we came in. I thought there was going to be some dead kid, that like a little kid that came alive. I thought there was going to be some creepy thing in the house. It just wasn't enough for me, especially when like I've seen other good horror movies this year. I thought they would have stepped up, especially after that Hellraiser on Hulu. Like thinking this could be the future. They're gonna make a movie every Halloween.
This could be y'all.
I just couldn't get into it.
Well, see, like this is the thing. This is why I feel like they're different. Is because when they did it back then, it was original. We hadn't necessarily seen it like that before. We didn't know what to expect. Here, we're all waiting on when's the neck turn gonna come?
Yeah.
When are they gonna bury a pet? Which they never bury anything.
They don't show it.
They don't show not one barrel. And not to mention, who buried all these things? Because that girl turned, and I thought she was choked to death, and then did he drag her all the way back, bury her?
And they just showed her real quick in the ground, like this, the feet, and I was just like,
you don't know what happened to her.
It's just super fast. Like they were like, come on.
Like,
I didn't even know she was dead until her neck started cracking. I was like, oh, she's dead too. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. They all went down in one place, split up, of course, in 5 different areas, and that same guy got them all. How? It doesn't make any sense.
He's not himself anymore. He went.
The tunnels even being there. What was the purpose of that?
And that gave me claustrophobia. Like, who goes through tunnels like that?
I don't know. And they sat there and said he was digging down here. When did this kid have time to dig these massive tunnels?
They did.
When? None of it made, like, this whole stuff takes place with like in a couple of days.
Yeah. That's why they needed to slow down a little bit. I think if they had to slow down, and maybe they did, and maybe
that's why none of it made any sense.
He just went crazy and he cut out a lot of scenes. Maybe an extended version is going to come out.
No.
And you know, and saying that,
there's just been longer scenes of running around in hallways.
Yeah,
well, way too long. Everything went too long.
I think the same thing about The Exorcist. Like, how much was left on the cutting room floor for The Exorcist?
Exorcist, yes.
Yeah, because it was so much, like you were saying, Blake, about the continuity. Like, it was just like kind of like all over the place in different parts of the movies.
Yeah.
Because they probably cut off like, okay, we got to cut this 15 minutes out and put this together. Yeah. So it would be cool to see, like, if when they do the home release, if there's like an unrated version or something like that comes out.
Well, I think that, again, I didn't hate it like you guys, some of you guys did. I think I might be along the lines with you. Was it the like, no. Exorcist was better.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, but needless to say, like it was entertaining enough. It wasn't a complete disappointment. I just felt like it just went by too fast. I felt like it could have slowed down just a tad. Mm-hmm. But